Your cat could be in critical danger right now, and you might not even know it. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking on a pretty crucial mission. We're basically acting as your personal translation guide to bridge the massive and sometimes dangerous communication gap between humans and felines. In the next few minutes, I'm sharing life-saving warning signs that every cat owner absolutely needs to know. Watch till the end because missing just one of these could literally cost your cat's life. Oh, and before we really get going, hit that subscribe button. We share cat health tips like this regularly, and this information could save your furry best friend. All right, let's dive into the continuum of cat communication, from the quietest gestures of love to the red flags you simply cannot ignore. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover silent promises of trust, surviving the empty house, human habits, herding cats, hidden cries for help, and finally, those critical medical red flags. Let's kick things off with Section 1, Silent Promises of Trust, and specifically, decoding the paw tap. You know that feeling when your cat just gently taps you or rests a little paw on your arm? As humans, we almost always assume they're just being needy, right? Like they're begging for some kibble or chin scratches. But the reality is actually so much cooler. See, cats develop meowing specifically to talk to us humans, but a paw tap, that's how they communicate with each other. It's a super polite, low-pressure request. Plus, they have tiny scent glands hidden right in those paw pads, so when they press against your skin, they're leaving these invisible chemical signals behind, literally claiming you as theirs. It's a deeply intimate ritual of ownership. And sometimes, if you're laying really still, it's actually them doing a wellness check to make sure you're still breathing. Think about a cat's biology for a second. In the wild, their survival is entirely dependent on speed, balance, and having all four paws firmly on the ground, ready to bolt from danger. So by resting a fully relaxed, lifted paw on your arm, they are actively going against millions of years of hardwired wild survival instincts. They've just cut their escape options completely in half. They are basically telling you, I do not need to run, not with you. It is the absolute ultimate display of vulnerability and trust.
Moving on to Section 2, Surviving the Empty House and Busting the Myth of the Independent Cat.
We often think cats are totally fine being left alone all day, but research actually confirms they form genuine attachment bonds with us and experience real, measurable stress when we leave. So to help them out, here are your rules for the empty house. First, protect the timing of your routine. Feed them and leave the house at the same time every day. Second, you gotta scoop that litter box before leaving. A dirty box for an animal that is obsessed with hygiene drives their stress straight through the roof. Third, leave those window blinds open. A closed, completely static environment is actual sensory deprivation for a predator's brain. And lastly, give them active puzzle feeders to simulate a hunt rather than just leaving a giant boring pile of food out. The big takeaway here is that cats are precision animals. They aren't flexible. Your reliable, boring daily routine is actually their anchor of safety. When you constantly shift your schedule around without any warning, it destroys those anchors. And because cats are a prey species just as much as they are predators, a chaotic environment doesn't make them curious. It just floods their little bodies with cortisol and shoots their baseline anxiety sky high.
All right, Section 3, Human Habits Herding Cats, When Our Love Lands as a Threat.
We've all done it. You lean in for a super cute nose kiss, thinking it's the absolute purest expression of love. But remember, your cat has 2 million olfactory receptors packed into that tiny nose. To their super sensitive nervous system, your giant face looming in and blowing hot breath is a massive sensory collision. In fact, it perfectly mimics how a predator approaches. So, if your cat turns their head away before you even make contact, they aren't being moody or aloof. They've just learned to protect themselves from your well-intentioned invasion.
And the nose kiss isn't the only innocent mistake we make. Let's rapidly run through some other invisible household dangers. Constantly waking your sleeping cat for cuddles, that literally damages their immune function, which totally relies on deep sleep. Rubbing their exposed belly? That triggers an involuntary survival and clawing reflex. Playing with them using your hands teaches them that human skin is prey, which leads to dangerous bites when they grow up. Using a spray bottle to discipline them? That doesn't teach them anything, except to be terrified of you, and critically, it makes them fear water, which reduces how much they drink and can drive kidney disease. But arguably the most alarming hidden danger in your house right now? Essential oil diffusers.
This one is a silent poison. Cats biologically lack the specific liver enzymes required to metabolize aromatic compounds found in essential oils, especially things like tea tree, eucalyptus, and citrus. When you run a diffuser, those invisible vapors settle over everything in your house, including directly onto your cat's fur. And when they groom themselves, they ingest that oil.
because they literally cannot process it. It accumulates and slowly poisons their liver. By the time you notice they're sick, the liver damage is already significant. Seriously, turn off the diffuser and just open a window.
This brings us to Section 4, hidden cries for help, when silence actually means suffering.
Did you know a healthy cat grooms themselves for up to 5 hours a day?
So look at your cat's coat right now. If your normally sleek cat suddenly looks scruffy, dull, or matted, especially near the tail, they aren't just being lazy. They might be in too much pain to bend over. We're talking joint pain, arthritis, or severe dental pain. The neglect starts at the back and slowly spreads forward, and as the pain peaks, the cat will completely disappear into extreme isolation. We're not talking about a sunny afternoon nap. We're talking hiding in dark closets or deep under beds for hours. They are doing something called pain hiding. They're literally hiding their vulnerability from predators because they hurt too much to defend themselves.
Another massive, silent cry for help is hidden right there in their face. You might look at your cat's half-closed eyes and think, "Aw, they're just sleepy." But look closer. If you see a pale, filmy layer creeping into the inner corner of their eye, that is their third eyelid showing. Cats only reveal this protective membrane when their body is facing severe biological stress, like a fever, intense pain, or a major infection. Vets use this as one of the most reliable visual indicators of feline suffering. If you see that membrane, do not wait it out.
Which leads us directly into Section 5, critical medical red flags, the stuff where you absolutely do not wait for Monday.
These are literal alarms going off, and you cannot ignore them. First up, sudden voice changes. If your normally super chatty cat suddenly goes completely silent, or your quiet cat won't stop urgently meowing, something is hugely wrong. In nature, a sick cat goes silent to hide from predators. Next, refusing food or eating weirdly. Cats have a strict deadline. If they fast for too long, they get rapid, permanent liver damage. What about sudden aggression or complete withdrawal? If your sweet cat suddenly hisses when you touch them, they aren't turning mean. They are aggressively protecting a spot of intense physical pain. Then, watch how they move. Hesitating before jumping or taking weird routes to avoid a jump is a massive red flag for severe arthritis or spinal issues. And finally, compulsive licking of one specific spot usually means they are trying to soothe a deep internal pain that they just can't reach.
But of all the red flags we've covered, I need to ask you this critical question. Why is a cat straining in the litter box considered an absolute, drop-everything, life-or-death medical emergency?
The terrifying answer comes down to this one tiny window of time, 24 to 48 hours. This is red flag number 1. If your cat is visiting the litter box over and over again, crying or yowling while trying to go, constantly licking their back end, or producing little to no pee, their urethra might be completely blocked. The deadly toxins their body's trying to pee out get trapped inside. Within just 24 to 48 hours, this leads to complete kidney failure and they will die. I cannot stress this enough. This is never a wait-and-see situation. Do not wait for your regular vet to open on Monday. Wrap them up and get to an emergency clinic right now.
Your cat doesn't speak our language, but they really never stop talking to you. They use their paws, their coats, and their daily habits to communicate everything they're feeling. They've spent their entire lives quietly adjusting around our loud, confusing human routines. Now that you have this translation guide, you have the power to protect them, to prevent invisible damage, and to truly honor their trust. The question is, are you finally ready to observe and speak their language? Thank you so much for joining this explainer. Keep a close eye on those feline friends and take care of them.